as a producer, the voice actor, we're actors, we're creatives, we are the main character, but in the process of the big picture that you guys are creating, literally the picture, where do we fit into that? What does that process look like?
Well, for me, and again, I run my sets very differently. It is not an autonomous, I'm in charge and this is the way, or I'm directing and this is the only way. I run a very open set. If somebody has an idea on the set, I want to hear that. I want it to be fed up and you don't just like blurt it out. Well, let's move the car over here in front of the client when the sun's going down. Always started the voiceover auditioning process fairly early on, with whatever script we had at the moment.
Hmm.
I guess having the control side of me, as I wanted to shape the project and not let it go the wrong direction. And sometimes that can happen, and particularly when you're dealing with a big multinational corporation. You have four people together and you've got this great
Mm,
script and you've got an idea
right.
and it's beautiful and it's colorful. And then, you get 10 people in the room and the whole thing becomes beige. That's what I call it. It just
Yeah.
gets, yeah,
Yeah.
it dies. So for me, I always have a voice in mind,
Mm.
but also I would call casting agents and I would ask, what kind of person? What do you think? And I will tell you one thing right now. Back 30 years ago, nobody ever said authentic or nobody ever said
What were the
conversational.
specs?
The specs were just they wanted just a natural read. I mean, authentic
Mm.
and conversational wasn't shit back then, and if you pardon my language.
Hey man, you know me.
Yeah, I
I'll
do,
be
I
dropping F
do.
bombs
So
all over the place.
so it wasn't that way.
Mm.
So I would generally narrow it down to about five or six people. I sort of knew who I wanted, and so I might kind of shape it in that direction. So here's the guy I think is the best, or the lady that I think is best, but here's my other three
So
selections.
there is like a kind of a from the producer side, you kind of have your guy or gal, and you mix it in with the bunch and let the client make the decision, or
Right. It's not necessarily I already have a person predisposed, like, oh, I want to hire my friend Tom or I want to
okay,
hire my friend DJ. It's like this is where I think it needs to be.
to tell the story.
And yeah, and so I would start running some auditions by the clients way before we were done with the edit.
Okay, so that means to say that you actually will get like a rough cut and then adjust that to match whatever voice
We didn't plug in rough voices like, as a
scratch track kind of
there
thing.
wasn't something already in there. I mean, sometimes I would do it, but God, I can't even imagine how nasty that sounded back then. But, just like a scratch track, right?
Mhm.
I mean, my job is to keep the project moving, right?
Yeah.
So there's one thing selling the job, but there's one thing keeping that project moving, keeping it on track, keeping it on budget, because it's got to be delivered next Friday.
Mhm.
And in 46 years, we've never missed a deadline. And I'm not going to let somebody else indecision make me miss a deadline or
And
make us
by
miss a
somebody else, you mean
deadline.
like the client, like kind of waffling on voices?
Anybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Editors, clients,
Voice actors.
you know, voice actors. No, we never had a problem with voice actors.
And so, like most of the productions that you do these days, is it like commercial? Is it like corporate narrations, brand videos? How is it like split out?
It's a mix of commercials and then corporate sales and marketing.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of pure narration sorts of things. So almost everything is with some sort of end goal of sales or marketing or growing the brand
That's
in mind.
yeah, like a commercial
Yeah,
basically. Yeah, long commercials.
yeah. It's pretty much I would say it is, and that's
Yeah.
that's what I relate to very well is commercials.
Like let's say you've got a short list of talent, and the client says,
Yep.
"Hey, we like this person." So you bring them in. You hear them on the read. Does the client ever get to the point where there's like, "Huh, you know, it's just not working in the middle of a session"? Like you're in
Yeah.
it's part of the production process. So I mean, like, has it ever got happened where you just like that voice actor just doesn't work?
So, no, I've never had a client boot somebody mid-session. If I'm doing my job right,
Yeah.
that should never happen.
Mm.
So, when I would present 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, whatever they wanted to see, when I would present them to the client, I knew I could live with any 20 of those. And I knew I could work with any of those people. But I did always say, well, I'm kind of thinking this lady right here, she's got the right voice, or this guy's got the right voice.
And
And
it's curious you bring that up. When you're like casting, what kind of things are important to you? Is it the quality, the sound of the voice, or is it like what are you looking for that really sells an audition to you?
No, that's a very good question. I think most voice actors have no idea how that's really done. And I mean, you could talk about it all day,
Right.
but when you've sat there with a client and you've played them 20 auditions, number one is the voice of the tonal range or the sound that they're expecting.
Okay.
Okay. And if it's not there, you're done in 3 seconds. I mean, it's literally like, and today, boom, it's gone. It's just next, next,
That's
next,
not even a
next, next.
performance thing. It's just the sound isn't.
It has nothing to do with performance because nobody would be in that group if they were not able to perform what we wanted them to perform.
I see. I see.
So that's my job as the producer and
Mhm.
director and the writer, if I was the writer for it. So, and then we get into performance. And with the performance, you might get another 10 or 15 seconds, or you might go, hey, roll that back or play me the next take. You
Mhm.
might get a little bit of that, but it's a pretty quick process. We would sort of narrow it down, like, you'd get all your no's. And so all the no's go into this bin over here, right? And then
Wow.
whatever you had left, you would listen back through those. And then that's where it goes beige, right? You have to be very careful. And I mean by that is the project gets too many opinions.
I
What
see.
color should that wall be, right? Or what
Mhm.
what should that sound like? And so you could have I could have DJs doing, man, he's on it, he's my guy, he's know who's gonna do it. And then all of a sudden, like somebody in the back room, well, I'm not sure if I like the way
There's
he
always
says,
that. There's always that one.
and you're like, fuck. And
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
and so, I'm like, well, let's just put that aside. We can work with him on that, but
Mhm,
let's keep
mhm.
going, because he's got 99% of the script right. You don't like the way he says Chicago or something. I don't know.
And I think that's really important to hear, especially for voice actors who maybe are newer to this industry. There's so many things that can lead to a no. I mean, you've highlighted so many just in this little. We haven't even got to the live session yet, and it's like you have to get through so many hurdles to say, you know what, DJ, you're brought in for the job. That it kind of should highlight to you guys if you don't get shortlisted or you don't get picked up for this job, it's not the end of the world. There's so many things ahead of you to get there. And
Yeah.
Robert's kind of pointing those out to you right now.
Like I said, if I brought 10 people to the read for the audition or to that the client would hear, any 10 of those people I would be fine with.
Because you brought them in, you've already kind of like vetted them essentially.
100% I've
I see.
vetted them.
Mhm,
And which is traditionally now a little bit more of a casting agent's job,
mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
They're vetting and they
You
have
ever
their
like
favorites.
slip in like a wild card in your batch for the client?
Sometimes I would mix in a female voice
Mhm.
or so, and I would try and this might sound pretty good as a female, and you'd either get a yay or that's great or no, not really. But I tried to bring enough variety to the table that again I felt like we could keep it on track and it wouldn't go off track.
Now, you've mentioned two things. One is there's a take one and a take two. And you mentioned that if the tone doesn't match, you're not even listening any further, or the client's not listening for this pass. If everything is starting to, the palette isn't being cleansed, everything starts to run together, are there any things that we can do as voice actors to kind of, catch the ear when you start playing our audition? Should we be taking risks on that take one or put the risky take two? How do we make sure we're being heard essentially?
there's there's not that much variety, right?
Mhm,
Like a take one and a take two isn't widely spread out. I mean, there's definitely a differentiation between them,
mhm,
but
mhm,
it's not like, there would be a whole vocal tenor or some sort of different sound to the person's voice. But it might be a little faster, maybe a little livelier. What I call it, like this, the frosting on the donuts, right? They put a little bit more frosting on that
mhm,
DJ.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for in a take one, take two. I don't need something widely different, but I would love to have more energy. So let's say it's a hospitality or a theme park commercial. I want to hear kind of that fun family sort of vibe, right? I'm not looking for a commercial read. I'm looking for a fun family vibe. It's upbeat, it's good. It sounds like a good time,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And and it's okay. I think it's really good when people can put in a little bit of the ad lib in it. Jack, because you're really good at that. I mean, you're very, very good at that. When I listen to you reading and teaching and things, you're very good with adding things into there that make it more natural and conversational.
I see. I
And
see.
so, unless it is a big corporate, like a big theme park or something, or a big kind of a Marriott, they want it to be exactly the words that were written.
Yeah.
But
They
sometimes
had
I'm
to pass through
selling that.
legal and all that stuff to get to you.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
selling that too, though. Like, well,
Mhm.
this isn't really that far off. And
I love that.
I want to get the job finished,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I want to make the client happy, and I want to keep the vision. That's my thing, because I have a couple of things to do as the producer.
Okay.
Number one is I am the guardian of the client's budget. When a
Mm.
client gives me 50,000, 100,000, $500,000, whatever they give me, that is my budget. And so they may say, "Oh, well, let's get a helicopter. We need to fly a helicopter around the
Mm.
backside of the resort and, do all these things." And that might be a great idea. But I just have to say, I would love to do that. I think it's a wonderful idea, but we're going to have to adjust the budget.
Like when the voice actor's coming in and they're in the session, either like on Zoom, like we are right now, or in the booth. Um, do you have any tips, or do's or don'ts for that voice talent that's in that live session?
I expect people to be polite, professional, friendly. I mean, it's great if they have a little bit of a sense of humor, but you don't really run into this very often, but they just need to know, like, keep your mouth shut when this is happening,
Mm,
right?
mhm,
Because a lot of times it's Donna wants it one way and John wants it another way, and they've been clashing on this for 3 months,
mhm, mhm.
and now's their time to assert their
Dominance.
dominance, prowess, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Mhm.
But, I know as a producer, since I have the background on it, I don't solve that for them. You stick your head in
Yeah.
between two people who are dueling and you're going to get shot, right?
Mhm, mhm. And so you're saying that the voice actor should also be like, be quiet.
Just be polite, friendly. It's okay to, laugh and have a good time and enjoy it. Cut up once in a while if you're making a mistake or something. But when the clients start sort of going back and forth,
Mm,
you don't say anything.
mhm,
Nothing.
mm,
Because I may have a way that I want to direct it as the producer, right? You
mhm.
don't say anything between the clients, and I never get in between the clients. I say, well, I'll let them kind of go their way and they get to a stalemate. I go, well, why don't we try this? Hey, DJ, what do you think we ought to do? You have any ideas?
DJ being the voice actor, right?
Yeah, that's when I want ideas. I don't necessarily want talent offering up an idea unless we're struggling or something's not going right.
So it should be
Um,
solicited advice. Don't just start chiming in randomly with
yeah, definitely don't do that.
when talent want to add direct marketing or like prospecting to their marketing wheel. Um, when they're reaching out to you, I'm sure many talents have reached out to you over the years. What are you looking for? Like, what stands out to you in an email from a voice talent?
If you're a voice talent or your
Mm,
crew, you're anybody listening to this right now, I want you to think about that producer's world. And let's say somebody has a good sized production company, and over the course of a year, they'll do 3 to 6 keystone landmark commercial jobs, right? So that's 3 to 6 projects they might could use you on. Maybe some do 10, right? The bigger
mm,
companies. But that was for us. We would do 4 to 8 big projects in a year. And then everything else is your bread and butter work that you fill in between. So I might only need a voice actor 15 times in a year. That just means that you can email me every day, but if I don't have a project for you right then, no sense in me even considering you, right?
mm, mhm.
So, I mean, you can have a wonderful reel, you can be a nice guy, you can have the most charming email in the world, which isn't necessary, but it's all about keeping in touch. And I think you and I talked about this in a conversation. I know starting about 10 years ago, I don't know if everybody went to like a Bill DeWeese workshop or something like that. And my email box got flooded with voice actors. I mean,
Yeah.
so much to the point I was like, God damn it, another voice actor. It's not that I didn't want people to reach out, but people were reaching out a lot. The thing is,
Mhm,
though, is I
mhm,
would listen to your demo, and if I listen to your demo, I will send you a note back, say, hey, that sounds really good. Keep in touch.
mhm,
You don't have to keep in touch with me every week. You need to keep in touch with me every 4 to 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, that sort of thing. I don't need your email to be, fluffy. I don't need it to be a whole lot about you. I just need to to hear your reel. I need to know that, oh, you're an approachable person, you're available. You do a lot of commercial or you do a lot of narrative or whatever it happens to be. You don't have to give me, compliments on my website. I mean,
That's
it,
interesting because I was always taught early on like you got to research their work and point out one of the projects they worked
oh,
on.
well, that's not bad. It's like, hey, DJ, you know what? I saw that banana commercial you did, and I've done a ton of banana stuff. So here's my demo reel. If you see something in there, I'd love to get
it's,
a
so,
call
it's
next
so
time.
random. Like here's my reel. Nice segue.
Well, that's that's what it is. I
Yeah.
don't need a formal, I don't need a formal email, but the number one thing,
Hmm.
if I have told 100 crew members who want to be a PA, they want to be a camera operator, they want to be hair and makeup, they want to be whatever, if I've told 100 of each of those categories and voice actors to keep in touch, I would dare say less than two out of the 100 keep in touch.
And before I ask more about that, is keep in touch and I'll be in touch. Are those different?
Like, I'll be in touch.
Well, I've actually received responses like, "Well, great reel. We'll be in touch if something comes up." Is that the same as
That's
like follow
reasonable
up?
too, but it still means you need to stay top of mind
Okay.
because what I'm going to remember is somebody's name I've seen 10 times, 5 times, 4 times.
Mhm.
DJ, that guy, yeah, that's the guy, he's the guy. Where's he at? He's in Korea or something, right? But he's got a great voice. He's got that read. I may not need your type of voice
Mhm.
tone for 2 years. I just don't need you every day.
Very
Even if I
true.
was
Really.
doing a commercial every week, I don't need you every day.
You guys really got to pay attention to this point here. I'm not the only person. So many people have said this, but like you can go on LinkedIn on any given Sunday and see somebody posting that they just got an audition or booked a job through somebody they prospected years ago or a year ago. What you're saying kind of proves that point that 15 commercials a year, thousands of voice actors. Robert doesn't need you this year. He might need you next year though, and if you stay top of mind when that spot does come up and he shoots you the audition, it could be 2 or 3 years or 4 years down the line, but he'll remember you. That's powerful advice there.
Once in a while, man, every 6, 8 weeks, kind of an interval there.
And what do you
And
want to see in that follow up? It's like, hey, I thought about you today. Hearts, XOXO, or like you want to see like recent work or
well, yeah, if you got a new demo, it's like, hey, Robert, I'm just keeping in touch with you, but hey, I've got a new demo reel. Or I just did a new commercial for, apples, not just bananas. I do apples too.
dragon
And
fruit.
well, that's true. I had a
Okay.
terrible dragon fruit milkshake last week. Anyway, it's not like a marriage proposal, right? It is a little bit like dating, but you got to keep in touch. And if you don't keep in touch, you're not going to be top of mind because if you think I'm going to sit here and go, who was that guy? Fucking Korea, where was he from? What was he? But who was he? I've got emails from 18,000 emails stored on my.
I was waiting for the number. I was like, here you go.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. And I try to edit them out once in a while. But so I'm just not going to go back through and I'm not going to save you in a special file. Now, if I think you're good, I will put you on my informal roster.
And what does that look like?
It looks like a roster in my contact list and under the notes there, I just put names in and contact information. I'm going to cut and paste your name, contact information, maybe put a little note in there of like, what I thought about it. So that's how it is. It's not like an official spreadsheet or anything like that. But if I need to find, you know, uh, a Native American female, I know how to find that.
I see.
So
So,
just keeping in touch. But if Native American female hasn't kept up in touch with me in 4 years, maybe her emails change, maybe her phone numbers change, maybe I just forget about her altogether.
many of us don't have that entrepreneurial background, the business background. Most of us are employees. And I've talked about this at length of you got to kind of change your mindset. You should always be looking for work. And I admit I get lazy sometimes, like, I just don't feel like sending emails. I don't feel like finding new people. Like, but if you can see what Robert is saying, Robert is just one agency that you're reaching out to, right? And there's countless across the United States and across the world. And you just building up that pipeline. If he only needs you once every 2 years, but you have 100 agencies in your pipeline. I mean, the chances of you getting auditions or getting direct bookings just goes up dramatically. So it is a numbers game.
And it's a patience game. It's a longevity game. Could I share one more story with you? Back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
before there was this internet thing and email, and it was so easy, we used to send out different kinds of mailings in a year to clients. So we had a quarterly newsletter that we sent out, and it just had stories about what we were doing, but it had cities we are expecting to be in, so it was kind of, it was our travel itinerary at the time. And then we would print up these really nice, like, 6x9, glossy, laminated, sexy, full color postcards and stuff. And we would print 12 of those at a time on one big piece of paper and have them cut down. And then we would stack them in our closet. We say, okay, well, this one's kind of like February, this is March, this is April, May. And we trimmed it back to 8 a year. But either way, so you might get our newsletter, and then you might get a postcard. You might get our newsletter, you might get our postcard. And, of course, we would reach out to people. We got involved in the industry. We would be at the resort conventions. That's where I met my wife, actually. I got my best client right there. And so I got a call from a guy, and I knew his name because I'd seen him on the list, forever. And he called. He says, "Hey, man, listen, we've been wanting to use you, but we never had a project that we thought was worthy of your company and the
I heard
budget."
that so many times.
I was like, "Well, man, I'm so glad you reached out." I said, "We've been mailing to you for a while, right?" And he says, "I have everything you've ever sent me."
Wow.
And he had like 14 or 15 pieces that he kept in a folder because he wanted to hire us one day. And it's like, we do smaller jobs too. He goes, no, no. He says, you guys are special. And I was saving this for that job. And I was like, wow. And that was years for him to finally reach out. And I had an in-house sales and marketing person too that made outbound calls, but he wasn't really responsive at all until he just that was that day. And so you have to think of it as a voice actor or a camera operator or whatever you are, is got to keep in touch, top of mind.
I've tried both, like scouring for that one email address to send out this beautifully crafted, not using ChatGPT, written by human email. And I've also sent out 1,000 emails at one time and got my email on the global spam list.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that.
So do you receive, not like physically receive, but do you look at those emails differently when you know that it's a canned message versus somebody who actually takes time to?
I don't really care. I mean, I don't need anybody to be falsely friendly. I'm running a business, and in my business, I need tools, crew, and talent, and clients. I need those number one. So that's just how it works. I don't need a flowery email. Now, some people might want to, be buttered up, but I have no interest in that. I mean, just, hey, my name's DJ, and I don't know how you phrase how you are, but you've got a very neutral voice for a black man.
That's what I would say. I'm a black voice actor with a neutral American accent. Yeah.
There you go. So that's really good. And that's what you have, That's all I need to know. And something like that to me, oh, he goes in my black guy file. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That sticks out. So all I really need to know is, hey, I'm DJ, I'm a voice actor, I'm a professional. I do apples and bananas sometimes, just like you do. I loved your banana commercial and I'm out of this. That's it. Because I am reading your email, DJ, while I'm in line at Chick-fil-A, while I'm pumping gas, while I'm sitting here talking to you. No, I'm not taking emails right now, but I've got auditions going on. I've got a client meeting, and I'm just going to skim it for just a second. And it doesn't mean it's disrespectful to you as a potential vendor, but it just means that I don't have a lot of time. I just need, I've got nuts and bolts. Well, if I don't need nuts and bolts that day, I don't really care. I need bananas, damn it.
You guys got to, or dragon fruit. You guys got to pay attention to what he's giving you guys is literally, you don't have to pay for a course, man. Like, I be trying to tell people, like, if you want to pay for a course, do you, boo-boo. I'm not going to tell you spend your money. But That's literally all it is. Just don't be a dick, don't be weird, and follow up. That's it. Because, like you said, he's not pining over your crafted email at 2 o'clock in the morning, laying on the bed under the covers. He's really not.
But I
Um,
might check it at 2 o'clock in the
you
morning.
might, yeah, you
Yeah,
might
because
check.
I can never sleep. I can't fucking sleep at all.
Well, when you're in the
Sorry.
space station, the time your body clock's all off and stuff.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
As you've been in this industry for years, what was it 30 over 35 years now?
46 years.
40, Jesus Christ. I
46.
apologize for shaving off an extra 11. Started at 19 and have just been doing it. Everything that
Yeah,
is
but
it.
I've been willing to make mistakes. And as a voice actor or any kind of a business person, you're going to make a mistake. And I've made some terrible mistakes in terms of um, financial decisions or client decisions. You take a job that, you're going, ah, man, this one, I don't know, I don't know, but okay, I'm going to make this work. And you get connected with somebody who um, is disrespectful. And,
A lot of them out
but
there.
I didn't know anything when I started. I mean, you know, I told you I had no business experience. Nobody in our family had business experience, and my parents were blue collar. Mom and dad lived in a little, I don't know, 12 or 1400 square foot ranch style home in Jacksonville, Florida. And man, I don't know why I did this. I mean, I was going to school. I had some opportunities to get further education, and I'm like, I want my own rowboat, damn it. And so a lot of those people, very good. I say, oh man, you don't have any experience. You don't have the money. What do you know about running your own business, right? And I didn't have much to say about that, but all it did was make me more determined.
Mhm.
And I told you this story, and I use this as one of my lead-ins is, people would say you'll be back in 6 months. And, under my breath, I knew they weren't being mean, but I knew all they were doing was making me more determined. And I'm sitting there, yeah, the hell I am, right? And so my revenge on all those people was not to say, oh, I'm, making it big now, but every time I would travel to a great place, Hawaii, the Caribbean, Mexico, I would buy a stack of postcards because that's what we did back then, right? We didn't send emails, we didn't have a Facebook page. Stack of postcards, a bunch of stamps, and I would sit by the pool drinking my coffee in the morning. Hey man, wow, it's really beautiful here in Cancun. I wish you were here with us, And there's been times I should have quit. There's been times I probably should have, filed bankruptcy, DJ, because sometimes financial things don't work out. Clients don't pay you for big jobs or something. But I'm not a quitter. And you could punch me in the face all day long, and I've been punched a lot. I've been knocked down and kicked down, and but you just got to get back up and say, "Fuck them," and move forward.
Is that the advice you would give to new voice actors? Because it is a tumultuous career. It can beat you down.
It it's brutal. It's brutal because it's personal. You're not selling cars, right? Oh,
Mhm.
you didn't like the red car. Well, you have to think of yourself a little bit like a red car, right? That client's not going to buy red no matter what. They like blue cars and that's all they're going to buy. You have to have tenacity to succeed in life. How many times did all of these different, very successful people, if you deem that they're successful people, how many times did they fail? You just have to say, you know what? I don't feel like doing that today, but I'm going to do it anyway. 46 years sitting in this chair every weekday. If I'm not on a job and I'm not out producing, I am in this chair 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, checking my emails. Oh, good, another voice actor. Um, and,
Put him in this
but
folder.
no, 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 but I'm in this chair every day, and I'm in this chair until 6 o'clock at night. This is my job.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you guys something. This is something I teach in my
Pay attention,
workshops
yo.
and in my business courses. Your job isn't to be a voice actor. Your job is to run a small business that offers that service.
There you go.
You may think it's different than shoes or hardware stores or, Walmart or whatever. It's the same, except Walmart has a broader category. But you have to run the business. Disney is not going to hire your company to produce a commercial for them if you don't have all of your shit together. but you have to be willing to fail. And if you're not willing to fail, it's not going to be fun. And I don't like failing. I know nobody likes failing, but you know what? It bruises. Sometimes it leaves a mark, but you just got to get back up, man, and go every day, Monday through Friday. I'm at this desk, and I'm probably here a lot more on the weekends than I should be. 46 years. This is who I am. It is not what I do.
One of my mentors here in South Korea told me like how he became successful was to fail and fail often. Like you gotta, the more you fail, the more you learn.
If you're not failing, you're not
Yeah.
trying, man.
Many people are so scared to fail that they won't move. But this industry, guys, like in voice acting, as any actor or as any creative, if you don't put yourself out there to fail, aka not get the job, not get shortlisted, not get your audition listed to voices.com, not send that email, if you're not willing to put yourself out there to fail, you will get left behind.
Well, do the numbers. Let's say you reach out to 100 people, right? 100 production companies. So out of that 100 production companies, there's an average of 15 jobs. We'll just use that number, whatever that happens to be. 15 jobs that could use voiceover, right? So now you get 1,500 jobs, right? That you could potentially be in, but you have to be in touch with all of those people. And now you've still got the competition side. Is your voice right? You know, you've talked about having not having that urban male, black male voice, right? And you get that, and they want you to be that. And you're like, well, that's not it. But, you know, if I'm listening to it, I might give you a chance to be that, but you're not quite close enough for that urban read.
There's just so many rungs on that ladder for you to fall down, but you still got to get on the ladder first.
There's more ways than just getting emails, right? Get involved with the community. All right, wherever it is you live, go to those Chamber of Commerce meetings, schmooze around, hand out your cards. You know, when you go to your doctor's office, go, man, you got a sucky voicemail system. Why don't you let me redo that for you, right? I did that. I shamed my dentist and my dermatologist into it. But, you know, you got to be involved in your community so people think about you.
I'm sure the people that are watching this maybe want to stretch those direct marketing email muscles. Do you accept submissions or emails for people, voice talent looking to connect with you, or you want to share that?
Just send them all to dj@djdykes.com.
Yeah, look, if y'all send me these damn emails, I swear to God, I'm deleting this YouTube channel.
Anyway, first thing you ought to do is just take a look at our production company website, and that is starlingproductions.com, STARLING productions.com. And my email address that you can submit to is robstar1, and that's the number 1, ROBSTAR1 at starlingproductions.com.
That's
And then
generous, yeah.
my VO site is robertstarling.com.
You gave all the information that voice actors need to hear from the other side instead of just living in their bubble as a voice actor. They need to see the bigger picture, how they fit, and I think you did a great job of breaking that down for us.
Well, man, this is awesome. You know, it's hard to stop me when I get on my business Apple box, right? Banana box. And, but, you know, I do, and I'm not here pitching consulting, but I do private workshops, and I could do them in person or online. And, you know, they're expensive, but, you know, when somebody comes out of my 2-day workshop, they've got a business plan to work with. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I really appreciate this opportunity. I've never done this before, so my job is not front of camera sort of guy.